Hey everybody, this is Justin with zZounds. We are here today with the orange vintage pedals, and I got a lot to talk about with these. They're very fun, and as you heard, that was the distortion that I just opened up with. Super sick, but we got 3 of them today, and I'm just going to do a dive into these and show you guys what these can do and kind of what they might have improved upon in the old designs. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump right in, everybody. So as you heard before, this is the orange distortion unit, and I'll go in order right to left though, but what you heard before is the distortion. Let's start out with the phaser though. This is the orange pedal that's kind of a recreation of that early 70s orange pedal, and it was, if you remember, it's the phaser with a Z. This is the updated version, and they added an LED, and they also added compatibility with 9-volt power, which wasn't actually the case before as far as I remember. So you can use your typical power supplies, and now you got a status LED, which is nice. So let's jump in. Let's hear what it sounds like. So this is, again, this is the kind of new and improved orange phaser. So. So it sounds awesome. And again, it's a dummy proof pedal. You know, you got one knob. So, and that's just the speed. So I got it set at about maybe 9 o'clock right now. Let's actually go to the lowest setting. We'll do kind of like a, you know, Eddie Van Halen phase 90 lowest setting kind of thing. So it sounds awesome. I mean, I love the fact that it's not too intense of a phase sound, which is kind of important to me, especially in basically like a single knob phaser. You don't want it to be too extreme so that you can pair it with different amps and different other effects, which I will show you later with these. I'll stack all 3 of these later. But I really liked that it was just enough of a mix to be usable. It's not like totally washed in phaser. So cool. Now you guys heard the rig here, let's talk about what I'm playing first, and then we'll continue on with the rest of the pedals here. I've got a 2011 Gibson ES335. This is the satin version, and I'm playing into a Mesa Boogie, a dual rectifier Rectiverb 25, and we are miking it up with an SM57, Shure SM57, and a Royer R121. Those are it's in stereo there. So that's it. That's our rig, and then we got these guys up front. So let's get back to it. Let's go explore this phaser. So I showed you guys kind of the lower range of the dial. Let's explore it a little bit more. And as always, guys, I have my chat pulled up in front of me here. So if you have any questions, then feel free to ask, and I'll get to it. Oh, actually, you know, speak of the devil, we got one right now. Joe, what size are they compared to Boss pedals? They look big. They are not that much bigger than a Boss pedal. It's not so much the width. It's just they're kind of taller. I'd say maybe about a ½ inch taller than a Boss pedal, and also maybe about a ½ inch wider. So they can pretty much fit on a pedal board. Yeah, actually, here we go. Pat, our director here, just gave me one of our Boss pedals so you can see it right next to it. So it's probably, I was maybe being a little conservative. It's probably about an inch or less in difference, and maybe about ½ inch taller. So that's a little comparison right there. You could squeeze one of these in though because of the top mounted jacks. So I didn't have a problem kind of stuffing it into my pedal board in place of a Boss unit. So But hopefully that helps out Joe. There's the size comparison there. So anyways, these are just really great though for a couple of reasons. One is the fact that it has a single knob. You can't really mess it up. So let's go hear it again at the lowest speed with the phaser. Go back to the kind of that 9 o'clock phase, just a little bit more. Sounds real nice right there. And then as you keep pushing it up, let's go to about noon right now or thereabouts. So there you go. That's that like classic kind of phase speed right there. So, you know, let's see. Let's play like a riff here. So. So it's great. Love it. Let's just keep going. Let's move it up to, how about like, let's do like about a 3 o'clock, like 75% of the way up. Now you start hearing how it's a lot more apparent there. So you can explore the range of it in a good way where you can get the subtle slow speeds. The minute you start increasing the speed though, I feel like the depth also kind of, it just gets more apparent as the speed increases. So I really liked this with like kind of like single note lines and little leads there, you know. So this is just bone dry clean tone on my Mesa right now too. So really trying to give you guys a good idea of what this phaser sounds like before we add all the dirt pedals there. So really cool thing about this phaser though, I was talking with the guys that really loved the fact that this one has a super extreme top end to the speed. So let's check it out. You increase the speed all the way to the highest range and you get this kind of stuttery, lasery kind of sound there. And I really like kind of the novelty of that, since you don't always get that in a phase pedal where it'll go that extreme, but you can use it to great effect with other stackings with other types of effects like reverbs and for instance distortion. So I just loved it. It was a cool little novelty. That's kind of find that, like, you can find that speed. It's like just underneath when it starts getting stuttery. Yeah, cool, like fast but not laser phaser sound there. So it was awesome. So let's start going to the other pedals here, and I'll stack it with the phaser so you can kind of hear how it sounds. The sustain unit, let's go to that one next. This one is a really cool kind of dual purpose pedal where it functions as a compressor, obviously there. So you can use it as such and just get, you know, pretty transparent compression. But I love the fact that it has input and output and depth and level controls as well. So you can actually saturate it and use it as kind of a low level overdrive. So check it out. I'll fire this up with the kind of the input at, let's do about 3 o'clock, like 75% up. And we'll keep the output maybe more like noon. Check out how it adds like a sizable amount of dirt to your tone. So like you could use this as an actual overdrive pedal as well as the compression. So it sounded awesome. It was kind of the perfect middle ground between clean and then the distortion pedal. So I was having fun kind of stacking these at home to get like an in-between dirt and then a full bore distortion sound. So you get that kind of tiered level there. So I'm going to pull it back the input a little bit. You can hear it a little bit cleaner. So yeah, check it out. So it's awesome. And I don't know if you guys noticed that out there with the pedal LED. but the LED on it actually changes from the stock blue LED to a purple once there's actual gain reduction and compression happening. So you will notice it flitter if there's actual compression happening. So check it out. So you notice whenever I'm hitting it hard, it'll pop that LED on, let you know that it's actually working to kind of smooth everything out. So again, it's the make you sound like a better guitar player pedal right here. So that's without, and then here's it with on. You can notice that the dynamics really do tighten up. Makes kind of the quieter sounds louder, makes the louder sounds quieter, kind of evens out everything like a typical compressor pedal. I just like this one because it's just a little different. It has actual overdrive in it, so that's kind of the fun part about it. So let's juice this input right here. We'll go full up on the input, and you can kind of hear what it's doing to the tone then. So clean tone again. Just an awesome drive pedal. And again, you have the compression element, so it sounds super tight. We got a comment coming in, Michael Francis. Cheers from Texas, rock on. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for tuning in and watching. So it just sounds awesome. So again, let's pull the input back a little bit. So we'll clean it up, not so much drive as you heard before. Let's pull the output up so we get like kind of a level boost from the output. We're going to lower the input so it's a little cleaner. Without. A lot more transparent, still really touch sensitive, and you still will be getting some gain reduction. You'll see the LED go to purple. And hello, Katerina. So we will show you the tone of it a little cleaner here. So here's more like using it as an actual compressor. So So it sounds awesome. Yeah, and again, it's not too like squishy. We have new comment, Radiophonica, cheers. Yes, cheers back to you. Thanks again for tuning in. And thanks, Michael. Great thick sounds. Agreed. The sustain pedal, it really does kind of just thicken up your tone. So once again, check this out. Let's go phaser. We'll stack the sustain after it, and you'll see how it kind of pumps up your tone there. So we'll pull back our phaser to a reasonable phaser. So okay, now watch the effect of actually boosting the tone with the sustain pedal, and it just really just makes it sound just bigger. So love it. It's just such a big difference there, you know. Yeah, sustain for sure. Yeah, sustain's awesome. So here, let's do this. We'll use it as an actual sustainer. Let's kind of pump up the input a bit. You guys will notice a big difference with the sustain. It really does make a difference. So check it out. So I'll just kind of hold some notes here. So pretty dry tone, and then we put on the sustain pedal. Really does kind of just pull that note up and just give you a lot more sustain. Oh, this sounds awesome. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I really do love this one. This one's like kind of an always on pedal. You could just turn that on and pair it with the input set low so it's clean. Just throw that in your pedal board early even and just have that as an always on boost. Really just makes your amp sound just so much thicker. And I got the input kind of juiced, but you get the point. So Charles, we got what's the settings on the ES335? I got nothing, man. I'm just full up. I got just 10 on the bridge pickup and 10 on the tone. I have not changed anything. I'll show you guys some neck pickup later with the distortions. You can kind of hear that with the neck pickup tone. But yeah, Charles, otherwise this is just my volume, and the tone knob is wide open. So all on 10. Okay, so speaking of that, let's go to our distortion pedal. I feel like this is kind of what everybody's curious about here in the stream, is like, how good does the distortion sound? So it's really great. Again, we just got level and depth control, and it sounds awesome. This thing is a stupid low power draw. It only draws 3 milliamps of power. That is like literally next to nothing. For reference, the phaser draws 17 milliamps of power, and the sustain draws 7 milliamps of power. So again, that's like nothing. You know, you're going to be using so little power and can actually just daisy chain all these off even one DC input and probably get all these totally fine. So anyways, they're super quiet as well. As you guys notice, I got my amp kind of screaming in the other room, the Mesa, but it's dead silent right now. And even with the phaser on, which historically my phasers always introduce a crap ton of noise in my signal, it's dead quiet right now. So you don't hear anything. Even the sustain with that dirt tone, just dead silent right there. So they're awesome, especially if you're somebody who gets bothered by noise. These are the biggest improvements, I think, on these circuits. Way, way quieter. Anyways, let's get to the distortion like I was saying. So we got level and we got depth. Let's go to the level control. We'll just put everything at around noon. And yeah, check out how this thing sounds. So right at noon there, you get that kind of crunchy overdrive, but it's not too saturated, which is awesome. So, So to me, it almost feels like an overdrive, like a really tight overdrive with its own kind of character to it, but that's at 50% gain. So still usable as an overdrive, still has a lot of touch sensitivity. So, you can really clean this thing up even at halfway up. So, yeah, awesome. It really does feel like an amp. So let's turn it up. Yeah, there you go. There's the meat. Yeah, for sure, Charles. This thing's awesome. It's thick. It has actually preset bass and mid levels. So those are preset. That's just baked into the circuit. But it does have an internal treble control. So initially when we were playing this, some people were a little dissatisfied with maybe pairing it with like other types of amps versus maybe like a Marshall or something like that. But it has an internal treble trimmer. If you want to open it up, you can adjust that and actually make it brighter or darker if it isn't pairing with your amp well. So they just kind of hid that under the box there in case you needed it. But from the factory, it's set about 1/3 of the way up. So yeah, you got a lot more room with this thing to adjust the treble. And I think the mid and bass sounds great. I was playing it through 2 or 3 different amps and never really had too much fuss with it. I think it paired awesome. So that being said, guys, though, let's turn up the depth control here. Let's give it some more gain. So we'll go about 75% now. So here's our clean tone. So and here's this with the pedal. Love it. Awesome sustain. It's like just a little scoopy, but man, it just sizzles with this Mesa here. It's just awesome. I think it pairs really well. Can't argue with that. So let's turn up the input all the way. So here, now you can get that kind of full saturation there. So kind of, I'll play a similar riff. that's just super tight. I love the upper end like sizzle you get with this guy. So sounds awesome with single notes, even neck pickup, like I was telling you earlier. Somebody was asking about the 335 tone. Neck pickup on the distortion sounds really awesome, super violin-y, you know. It gets that sputtery kind of fuzzy tone with a more than one note too. So pretty awesome. Now, what I had a lot of fun with though was obviously pushing the output, because man, you could just slam an amp with this. Even use it more as a boost, you know. For instance, pull the input down and clean it up, and then just slam the output up. Man, it's just, especially with a clean amp like this, just sounds so good. So check it out. Here's it clean again. Yeah, let me go back to my neck pickup, or bridge, I mean, sorry. Sorry, clean tone. That's barely any drive, guys. That's at like 330 right there on the, like 930 on the knob. Basically just a couple notches in on the input. Not pretty much nothing, just all output knob up. Yeah, just like instant like Marshall-y flavors almost, even though that's sacrilege to say on an orange pedal, but you get that same type of like crunch tone there, so you know. So love it. Distortion pedal, you could use it as an overdrive too. Thought that was awesome. It's not just like a full bore distortion where you can't clean it up. This thing cleans up absolutely beautifully. Roll down your volume knob, man, you can get like all those in between tones. You know, like really touch sensitive, even like with finger style stuff, you know. So yeah, sounds great. So now guys, let's go start stacking these, because this is again where you can have fun with these pedals. Distortion into the sustain is just like match made in heaven. So here, let's dial in some stuff. Let's do like halfway up on the input on the sustain. We'll give you a little bit of output. We might as well boost it a bit. And let's also do about halfway up on the distortion. We'll hear how it sounds. So again, here's just distortion. So and here's distortion into sustain. Yeah, you can just see that thickness. It's not too extreme at these settings, but it just really just beefs up the tone. So check it out. Let's bump the input up on the sustain pedal. You can already just hear it with just the ambient amp noise right now. But check it out. Here's it without. Loved it. It's like, man, it really is a great sustainer when you use it like this with a distortion pedal. So it's great. I had a lot of fun kind of trying different combinations of this, like, you know, crank the input on this guy. Let's clean up the distortion pedal and just do this one. So as you can see, you can have a ton of fun with this. Let's boost the distortion a bunch. Just slam this right now, see how it sounds. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. So got a ton of versatility with this. it's funny because they're so simple looking. They're just, you know, a single knob, two knobs, but yeah, you got a lot of room to play with these and they work well with a lot of different sources. So I really like these. And again, they're so just quiet. I cannot stress how much I love that, especially when I'm working with already distorted amps. It just won't totally muck up my signal there with a bunch of excess noise. So I really liked the improvement on that. And just for reference too, the phaser is true bypass. So that's pretty cool. So this is actually a true bypass. They added a JFET on the input, which is cool. So that kind of helps again with the noise. But true bypass, and then these two are buffered bypass, which I actually like. I like having at least one pedal or two in my chain that has a buffer. But these are buffered and they're low impedance. It shouldn't really get in the way of, you know, sapping anything from your tone in my experience. So again, true bypass, phaser, and distortion and sustain are a buffered bypass. So just good to know for anybody out there who might be wondering that information. And yeah, so guys, these things are awesome. Let's have a little bit of fun though for a few minutes before I let you guys go here. I'll do phaser and distortion here. We'll see how we can what we can get out of this. Like, let's do low phaser and we'll do like a fairly extreme distortion setting. Let's hear how it sounds. So. Super juicy with that distortion there. Oh, I got another comment here. Great video, better and better, more and more, solid. Yeah, for sure, right? They're just really cool. Let's pull back the distortion a little bit. I almost would probably think it'll sound better here if we get a cleaner distortion sound, just so you guys can see this versatility on this guy. So yeah, let's pull it back a little bit. Like, yeah, let's do like three in the dial. It sounds awesome. So it's great, love it. And then lastly, let's do phaser sustain. So you guys can see it's like, this thing just sounds like a great overdrive sustain. I love it. So much output on it too. You can really hit an amp. So here, let's do let's get a little bit faster phase. Cool. Yeah, we'll make the sustain pedal pretty hot, so. Really cool. Love it. And again, guys, if you notice when I was playing there, you'll notice that LED and the sustain kind of giving a little bit of compression, you know, tighten up my arpeggios there. So all right, guys, so got a little bit of time here. Let's just kind of hit all three. Why not? should be pretty fun if we hit the phaser into the distortion, the sustain. So it could be a pretty awesome stack here. So let's do all three. And then unless you guys have any other questions for me about maybe specs on the pedals, or if you want me to explore any tones that you might not have heard, feel free to drop a line in the chat. I got it pulled up here. Otherwise, I'm just going to play us off here with all three of these guys. So let's check it out. We'll increase the phase, or pull the phaser back a teeny bit. Could you test the pedals with the Stratocaster? Do we get? Oh, actually, I got one line over here. Sure, if you want to give me a minute, yeah. I was about to just call that stream right there, but yes, absolutely. Could you test it with a Strat? Sure. Let me see. Here, hold on. I'm gonna pull the cable. Is that cool? All right, cool. Thanks for waiting there, guys. We had a request to hear it with a Strat. So I got this, I believe this is a 1950s Strat there. Yeah, let's hear zZounds. So same rig, nothing has changed. We'll get the single coil experience here, so check it out. So I'll go to our sustain pedal. Let's check it out with that. So. So classic Stratty sustain tone, love it. It's a little bit cleaner, as you guys can notice, even at the higher end of the input, just because the pickups aren't hitting the pedal as hard. So yeah, you will get a lot cleaner response out of it with single coils here. Sounds awesome though. Let's go to the phaser. And we'll get like some, let's do some like in between, yeah. So yeah, sounds great. Love it. Again, guys, you notice the difference. Like there's just not, it's just not hitting the amp as hard with these pickups. So you really can get a lot of like dynamics out of this too. So especially the sustain pedal. So let's hear the distortion real fast. So here's it with my bridge pickup there. So. Love it. Sounds awesome. So yeah, sounds great, right? And once again, why don't we stack all three of them real quick here and have some fun real quick before we go. So. Sorry guys, that's definitely my pickup knob there. It's a mega buzz right there at the top end of that. From Juicy to Classic Crush. Absolutely, yeah. Thanks, Michael. And then hello from Bali, just joined this party. Absolutely. Thanks so much for tuning in. I wish you got to see the rest of the stream, but thanks for tuning in now. Guys, glad we got to actually explore that with some single coils here at the Strats. Again, it sounds great. I can't really miss with these orange units. So got the orange phaser, the orange distortion, and the orange sustain pedal. Loved all of them. They are quiet. They're updated with LEDs, low power consumption, pretty much everything you need in a modern pedal. So it's kind of improving upon those vintage designs. Check these out at zZounds. We have these all for $249. And we have the whole lineup there. Grab them while you can. We don't have a whole hell of a lot of them left in stock, so please pick one of these up if you liked what you heard. Also, like I mentioned before, we just started stocking Royer microphones, and we were able to use the R121 on this stream, as well as the Shure SM57. They sound awesome. Makes our job a whole hell of a lot easier using a mic that good. So also check out the website for Royer mics as well. We have a selection of those available now. So guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Like I said before, unless you guys have another question for me, pop it in the chat. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in. These are very great. Check out the new orange vintage series pedals on zZounds. Thanks for tuning in, guys.